Hello, book lovers. I'm Peg, back on my porch in small town Pennsylvania, but I haven't been here very long. I've been on quite an adventure this weekend. I'm about 2 hours drive from Washington, D.C. if I head straight south, and since I lived and worked there many years, I pretty much know my way around and actually even have a place I can stay there. So on special occasions, I like to go down and enjoy the big city life in Washington, which I did this weekend. And to make it even better, I did a get-together with another booktuber who I had met previously. That's Ernestly Eston. Now, I keep calling him Eston, and I think other people do, but really his name's William, but I'll just call him Eston. And we had a great time. As I've said before, if you ever have a chance to get together with somebody you've met on BookTube and like the reviews or the books they read, you will have a great time meeting you. We had met before and just talked and nearly got thrown out of the restaurant we were having lunch at. So this time he reserved a conference room in his apartment building for us to meet in so we wouldn't be kicked out, and we knew we were going to talk about knitting. Now I have to tell you that he has learned to knit since the last time I saw him, and has done amazingly well. Knitting's one of those things that people either love or hate, and he's obviously a lover. I've seen people that have been knitting for years who aren't as good as he is yet, and I'm giving you the link to the video he made yesterday with me in it that shows the kind of knitting that he's interested in doing, and it involves graphs, following graphs and patterns, etc. And it's just very, very interesting. You know, there really seem to be a lot more men knitting these days, both straight and gay men. And he's actually found a men's knitting group, though he's found he's welcome in any knitting group with his expertise, and seems to be enjoying it. So be sure to take a look at that. Now, the other thing was, if you've ever, I'm sure most of you, or many of you, have already watched his channel. He gives very serious what he calls book chats, and he the most disciplined reader I've ever seen. He goes to great trouble, or not trouble, but it's fun to make a complete reading list, which he calls his priority list for the whole year. Now he's already working on next year, so they're not just books he thinks he might like. Evidently, did I show the picture yet? Oh, there's the picture of us on the thumbnail that he put up. I can't quite seem to make it into my own thumbnail. Anyway, but and he calls this his high priority list. Now, there's times where he can add other books in, but every video, when he reports on the last book that he's read from his list, he has a bowl with the names of everything on his list, and he draws the next book he's going to read. So he was going to let me draw the next book, and he forgot to bring the bowl. So anyway, but I see that just now he's put up another a video with his latest reviews. So I'll have to go there as soon as I finish this and see what he drew. Now, what if I drew? I was going to kind of try to cheat and find the one Maltese Falcon, which I know is on his list, because I really am anxious for him to read that. He read the other hard-boiled author, Raymond Chandler. He read The Big Sleep, and I'm anxious to hear his comparison with the two. Actually, I thought maybe I could read I might try to read a couple short stories by each, because I've heard so much about both of them, and I'm wondering how they are like and how they differ. Anyway, so let's hope he chose that one, though I hope he didn't choose the 500 or 1500 page book by Thomas Mann that I know is on that list somewhere too. Okay, well, we'll see. Anyway, let's see. What was I going to say? If you're going to Washington, D.C. this summer, be sure that you are ready for long delays on what they call their metro, which is their subway underground system. I got in a terrible mess. Now, I know it well. I've been there many times, and he actually lives across town from where I was, so I had planned out my metro trip and planned it with plenty of time, and I got on it, and I changed the first train. You have to change onto a different line. I changed on the line. I knew that was the line that was going to where I wanted to go, and I just took out a book and started reading. I mean, I knew about how long it would take, almost a half hour, but, you know, I was reading away, and I heard some loudspeaker stuff, but you can't really hear what they're saying anyway, and people were getting off and getting on, and I looked up. It seemed like about time we should be getting to the station I was going to. I looked up, and we had somehow come back to the station we started out from. Metro Center, it's called, the big one. I thought, did I get on the wrong train? What's going on? So I got off and asked somebody, and it was hard to find somebody to ask. I mean, there was a lot of people seeming real confused, and there was actually a lot of foreign visitors in Washington this summer and now, and especially on a long weekend like this was, and they were like milling around. There was no signs that told what was going on, and anyway, to make a long story short, they are working on the tracks, and every weekend when the business people aren't using the metro system, they close down tracks. And I didn't see any sign, at least any sign where it should have been, warning us of this. And supposedly what you're supposed to do is you go a certain amount of a certain way, part of the way, and then you get off the train, you go up a huge escalator, you go out onto the city street, and you're allowed to catch a free metro bus or shuttle to the next stop because there's no tracks that the train can go on. I mean, it was like, unbelievably, this is a crowded city. So I had finally figured out what to do, and there was, as I said, a lot of foreign people that were just lost. I mean, not everybody speaks English, believe it or not. And so I kind of did my good deed for the day. I gathered up some of the foreign older people, and I played Peggy tour guide. I got them up out of there and tried to explain to them we were going to go get on a bus, and then we were going to take a bus for a while, and then we were going to get back on the train, and then they'd finally end up to where they were going. So it was quite gratifying. I thought, I've done my little bit for to make America appear friendly to the tourist. That's the least I can do. Anyway, so then I got them to the next stop. I got them all back on the bus. I finally got to Ernest Lee Eston's place, and we talked and talked and talked and talked. And finally, I could see it was getting dark. I knew I had quite a trip home, so I got back on the metro. It's called, same thing, same amount of people, not knowing what to do. So I was little tour guide again. I got the foreign people off the off the train onto the bus. Anyway, but it was really satisfying because I talked to some interesting people. There was a academic from Africa there, a man, and he spoke some English, but you couldn't understand the loudspeaker to know what was going on anyway. And I asked him, he teaches literature, and I asked him what he taught, and he does, of course, African literature and eco-criticism, which was quite interesting. And I realize now that's, of course, novels. I said, is that novels, non-fiction? He said, yeah, like a lot of our science fiction now is actually eco-fiction. It talks about what's going to happen in the ecology of the world if we keep going like what we are. It's really interesting. Of course, I told him about BookTube. Anyway, so that was quite an adventure, and I had just a lovely talk. Now, next time we're going to get together with Rachel Mora, who also has a channel here, a great channel, and she's going to lead us on a used bookstore tour in Washington, D.C. So if any of you are in the area, you might let me know, and I'll be glad to tour bookstores with you. Okay, so let's see. Yeah, and then today I drove the 2 hours back here to small town Pennsylvania, and I'm kind of glad to be home. Okay, so let's see. update on Sean's wedding blanket. The exciting thing is it looks like I'm going to be able to go to the actual wedding. Now, Sean had invited me months ago before he knew I was making him a blanket, so don't think he was, invited me just because I'm making him a blanket. But he let me know that he would like to display the blanket at the ceremony and as part of the decorations, and I was so delighted. And so I don't want to mail it. I don't want to trust it to the mail, and so I'm making plans. I think I'm planning to go to the actual wedding in Canada this summer in August. So watch out, Sean. I'll probably be the only wedding guest that has never met him in person before. Anyway, so let's see. The progress on the blanket, you can also see, you saw a little bit of it here, but you can see it if you watch Ernest Eston's video, which I've linked below. I'm flashing it around and showing you all 7 stripes of it, 3 more stripes in bright colors, yellow, orange, and red. So I think I can finish by August now, because he's not going to delay the wedding till I finish, I don't think. Okay, one more thing I wanted to just quickly say. The Miles Franklin Longlist came out. That is the best novel in Australia. Miles Franklin was a famous woman author and left in her will money for this prize, and it's the big one. It's the big one for Australia. That's what Leah told me, Leah of Hide and Seek, and I hope she'll be commenting on these. But just quickly, I'm going to be talking much more about it because I'm trying to get a hold of all of them, and I just really want to read these. But one of the ones is this Long Way from Home by Peter Carey. He is famous all over the world. He's won 2 Booker Prizes and won the Miles Franklin several times. So this probably has a good chance. I haven't read it, but I plan to. This one, The Restorer, I have read. It was on another Australian list. I think I'm not sure what mystery list, I don't know, but it is good. It's very dark about this family that moves to this strange old house, and I mean, it's well done dark. Anyway, so I'll be getting back to those, but I just wanted to share a little bit about the weekend. Here in the U.S., the people that work have another day off tomorrow. I guess in England you call that a bank holiday. I don't know. Anyway, so wishing you a good Memorial Day here in the U.S. people. Talk to you later. Bye.